Blowing Steve's ears.
Welcome, everybody.
He's
If
got
I
that
scream, it's because I
ashtray.
can't hear. Charles has got the theme song on 11.
It's the only one that's super loud. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, well, there's a little blood in my ears right now. So, welcome to episode 118. This is Fat Guys on a Little Podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve, and always joined by
Charles here.
And, of course, via satellite from Chicago, Illinois. Bill, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Well, technically, isn't the whole show via satellite because we're into week 2 of your quarantine?
Yes. I might be back in person next week.
Great.
I can't control what other people do. So
I'm going to take your temperature before you get in the studio next week to see
little things.
I don't trust you.
So this week we're going to take a look at some more COVID information, some conspiracy theories, all kinds of great stuff this week. And then also later on, I'm going to show everyone the world the boiled peanuts. This stuff is disgusting looking, and I can't believe my wife bought that, but it's still pretty funny. So first up, just in case everyone was worried, the president is back in the White House. He is feeling good and is slowly contaminating everyone else in the White House.
I was gonna say he just doesn't give a shit. He's like, I don't got like did you get a negative test? That's details. That's details. Like, okay, great.
No mask, just running around the White House, just screaming at people. He's right back. But he doesn't want to do the debate because they wanted to do it virtually, and he said no.
Because I think it's because he can't talk over top. That's one of the biggest problems is they can mute his mic without him kind of having the ability to gesture and kind of like give Biden the finger when no one's looking and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be my take. I don't know if BV has a different one.
Exactly. They can control his mic. They can cut him off when he goes on too long. He's not going to do that.
Oh man! So
he needs to be able to like scream over top of the other guy's mic and stuff.
He needs a WWE it, and if he can't do it, he's pissed off.
I don't know, dude. I tell you this much: I want to watch another debate, so I need to have one. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
Any debate that he has that actually gets forced to talking about issues, he's in trouble on, so he won't do it.
Yeah, well, that leads us right into the vice presidential debate. Did anybody watch this besides me?
I did.
I didn't check this one out. I wasn't that into this one. Although that fly was kind of funny, I'll be honest. I thought the fly stuff was pretty good, but I knew what this was going to be, so I didn't watch this one too much. Granted, I knew what the presidential one, but I had to see it.
The only thing that bugged me is every time Pence looked over at Kamala Harris, he had like a weird pink eye in his like left eye. His whole eye was like red and bloodshot when he looked off to the one side. Anyone else notice that, or is that just me? Yeah, it's very.
I think a lot of people did because people were saying that like pink eye is a symptom of COVID, and they kept jumping on. It's one of those rare like side effects of COVID that you'll get pink eye and stuff like that. But I just thought it was the cocaine he's on. That would be my thing.
Someone needs some eye drops or something. I don't know what was going on there.
Some Visine Ultra brought to you by the next presidential debate.
Everyone said there's a winner and loser. It felt like both of them were just doing their normal talking points over and over again. Nothing new came from it. Did you feel anything great came from it, Bill?
Not particularly. Pence is pretty well known for answering the question he would like to have been asked as opposed to the actual question. Harris did the same thing, not quite as pronounced, but Pence pretty much just disregarded the questions, disregarded the timing. There wasn't as many interruptions as say with Trump, but yeah, I mean he would frequently go 20, 30 seconds over. If they're not going to get a moderator that has any kind of backbone, that's willing to actually cut things off to get control, then there's really no point in even having the time. Just let them go. That lady was one of the weaker moderators I've ever seen.
That's why they keep screaming for Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd like to. It will never happen, but I would like to see it.
I don't know what's up with BB's mic this week. It's making me mental.
What's wrong with it?
You're up and down all the time. I don't know what's going on. But the other
and down?
problem, yeah, like his volume's all over the place. It's crazy. BB can't catch a break this week. The other issue I thought too, the Kamala Harris just wants to
You go
release.
outside.
Oh, Steven.
Holly.
Oh, jeez, this is a stellar cat.
Let's dog out. Yeah, please go ahead. The dog's going crazy. I don't know what to tell you.
The one thing she just wants to release everyone from jail, and I don't think I'm down with that. Like, she's just gonna let everyone go, and I'm like, okay, like, not whatever. But they kind of knew this stuff was illegal. I'm not really down with that necessarily.
Yeah, I just want $10,000 off student debt. That's what she claims. Let's see if that's true.
Yeah, we'll see.
That probably wouldn't apply to people that already have the debt. That would be people that take on debt going forward.
Oh man, see, there's always stipulation, Charles. That's how they always get you.
Yeah, well,
it didn't say that on the website, but I had to double check.
Oh, well, maybe.
All right, so I don't know what you caught about Michigan this week, Bill, but we've had some interesting things with our governor this week. Yeah. So early in the week, they stripped a lot of her emergency powers away. So she enacted 2 laws from, I think, the 40s and one from 1976 about emergency power during a state of an emergency, and where it's only supposed to expand another 38 days or something along that lines. And she expanded it out for 6 months. And what do they call that? The state Congress, I think it is, or the state court, I forget what it is. The state Supreme Court voted against that and told her she was in the wrong. Well, the law was wrong. So she no longer has any emergency powers that she's been claiming she had, and that her emergency power should have ended like the beginning of May and shouldn't have been extended this far. So now, of course, all the right-wing people are pissed off and don't want to wear masks, but they still say you have to wear masks because of the health department and stuff like that. So Michigan is in a giant kind of clusterfuck right now just over that. Did you hear anything about that, Charles?
I mean, I did. But the Republican people have been freaking out about this for months. This isn't the first time I've heard that she's had no right to do this kind of thing. But like the problem is right now in the middle of a pandemic, do you really want to strip the person who at least has some kind of direction of all of her power? It just seems crazy and like very nearsighted. I know that Republicans will be like she was a tyrant and a whatever, but like at least let her finish out her vision of how to get us through this. I don't. That's my take, I guess.
Yeah, and then, but of course, but now it's not supposed to take full effect for 28 days. I feel like the 1st of November, you're going to see a lot of fights over masks and stuff coming, because we're Michigan and that's what we do. We're all retarded here.
Yeah.
Now also,
I'm sorry, really quick. Anyone that thinks that this was just some clear interpretation of the law or that it wasn't politicized. I mean, courts, particularly the Supreme Courts of states in the U.S., tend to be have a bad habit of legislating from the bench. I noticed it was a 4-3 decision, so this was by no means a cut and dry, clear, interpretation. Well, she was clearly in the wrong. I would be willing to bet that the vote went in mostly along political ideology lines. And that this
there was 2 decisions. One decision was 7-0. I don't know what the other one was because there was 2 laws. So one law got voted down 7-0. The other one was 4-3. I don't know all the details.
Yeah, what I had seen was 4-3. So
yeah. So who knows? So that started at the beginning of the week, and then by the middle to the end of the week, we had a bunch of hillbilly knobs that wanted to kidnap this woman.
This is crazy.
So they were going to work it out. There's like 11 guys. They've been on the news a lot now, and they were training in a trailer park somewhere, and then they were going to set an explosion on a bridge close to her vacation home.
To stop people from dispatching, like stop the emergency services. Yeah.
That and the police would investigate the explosion. And while they were investigating the explosion, they were going to hit her with a cattle prod, put her in a car, and take her to Wisconsin and put her on trial. And then once the trial's over, they were going to kill her. So there's that.
Now, mind you, they recruited all their people for this stellar plot on like Facebook. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand like modern criminals or modern, I don't know, anti-government people. Like, you think you could just post on Facebook, hey, anyone want to go kidnap the governor? Sure. It's just so stupid.
Who would ever be looking for something like that?
Yeah, no, not at all. It wouldn't flag at all. And then the nice part was, and I talked to Steve about this midweek, There's a great article on Click on Detroit, which is the WDIV website, that literally goes through these idiots day by day and like how soon the federal government like infiltrated them and then all the meetings and what was said. Fascinating stuff. It's got to be turned into a movie at some point. I don't see how it's not at some point, but
Yeah. And
crazy stuff.
what kind of terrorists are they when they had to fundraise to get a
I'm gonna GoFundMe. Help
gotta
me
go
kidnap
fundraise.
my governor. It was the most unbelievable. I just don't get what planet these guys are from. I get it. Like no one likes what's going on right now, but like kidnapping and blowing up bridges, like you're insane. Like this is crazy talk.
And then, I was telling Charles earlier in the week, what was their end game? So once they killed her, then what? Did they think half the
Yeah.
country was going to join
Oh
them
well,
in a
they were
revolution?
right. They were right. You know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so
I'm glad they
crazy.
murdered her.
It's so crazy.
What is it? Because I had read too that they had that their intent was to actually take over the state government. That this
I didn't know
essentially was
that.
like a coup
I
to
don't
overthrow
know.
the Michigan state government.
Well, and it makes
I
sense because these were the same guys that stormed the Capitol with all the firearms and everything. So these guys have been vigilante justicing this for a while, man. It's crazy. I just can't believe. So then you storm the state capitol and then you turn around and post on a Facebook. Anyone want to go kidnap the governor? Like, boy, the feds will never figure that one out.
Sometimes life is stranger than fiction.
Dude,
I swear
it's
to God.
crazy.
This is something that would happen on a TV show. We'd be like, that never happened. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening in Michigan. If anyone was interested about
And quite
the
frankly, like we've come off as a state terribly during this whole
oh,
thing. Like we just look
we
like
are a gang of
yeah,
morons.
we look like a gang of idiots, and it's just man, boy,
Yeah.
score one for Michigan this whole 2020.
Everyone from outside the state must think they're like there's Detroit area, and then the rest of the state is just militia and weirdos.
Yeah, it's like these crazy people. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really nuts.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be far off.
Yeah.
So, in other news this week, also, Bill, you are the most musical person out of all of us. Eddie Van Halen passed away of throat cancer at the age of 65. Bill, do you consider him one of the best guitarists ever to live?
I don't think there's any question. He has to be considered one of the best ever.
Yeah, I don't
Revolutionized rock guitar, technically and artistically. So, yeah, I think most people would have him probably in top 5 all time, if not very close to that.
I don't see who else you trump him with. That would be the question. Like who else do you? I again, BV's way more musically inclined, especially in that instrument. I don't know who else it's crazy. I don't know. It's one of those things where like there's a lot of conversation surrounding drummers, but I don't think there's a lot of conversation surrounding guitarists. I don't know if BV has a theory, but I don't think that's the case.
Well, it really boils down to who you like and what criteria you use. I mean, some people just look at it from a historical context, like how groundbreaking they were, how much they sort of push the envelope as far as technical skill. Some people just look at things as people that could play technically very fast and whatnot. The old people, a lot of things go back to the older days, and will point to guys like Hendrix, Clapton, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, some others. Some more modern would be some of the hardcore like instrumental guys like Joe Satriani or Steve Vai and Yngwie Malmsteen.
Couldn't you make the argument that those guys wouldn't have been around without him? I don't know, man. It's crazy to me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean he certainly he had a lot to do with the transition from a rock guitar standpoint, a transition on how people played, say, in the 60s, 70s, hard rock days up until, kind of took it into the new age. And yeah, I mean, he certainly it would be one of those on a very short list that influenced pretty much everybody.
Yeah, so passed away 65 throat cancer, they said.
He'd been battling with it for a while. I know that. Like it wasn't like it came out of nowhere. He'd been up and down with this for quite some time too, I believe.
In an interview, he claimed it was because he used to put metal picks in his mouth, not because he was a smoker.
Oh, of course. No smoker ever thinks they die of cancer. It's so weird. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
no.
You just lit
Yeah.
something on fire and sucked on it. What could go wrong?
But regardless, great, and of course, the wheels and the riff have been playing nonstop Van Halen music, which isn't a bad thing. And it's funny how every time one of these musicians pass away, now they're number one in the charts as far as iTunes and buying the song and stuff like that. It is funny how much that shoots up.
So, what is
there.
Steve's favorite Van Halen song?
That's a good one. I like Jump, I guess. That's a good one. Hot for the Teacher.
Yeah, Hot for the Teacher's awesome. Without the drum part. Yeah, I like that one, dude. Yeah, I like. BB, you got a preference? What's your?
Well, I probably like more of their overall catalog than you guys do. But if I had to point to one song, and it's not for any reason, I was just like it was Panama.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, that's a good song too. They got a ton of hits, so even the Sammy Hagar stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, dude, the Crystal Pepsi commercial.
Right now,
man.
That's what I often think of when I see
Yeah,
Van Halen.
immediately was like Crystal Pepsi.
I was like, who's got Crystal Pepsi? All right, so that's R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen. Now let's go into some college football today. I imagine you guys got to see some of it, at least a little bit. Big game today, even though neither team was really that big of a threat for a national championship, was Texas losing in 3 overtimes to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Did anyone catch this one? This game didn't want to end.
I watched the overtime as me and you were talking about. So I tuned in to check out the Kansas State game. I think Kansas State plays TCU or something. Yeah, something like that. The Big 12's all over the place right now. And I tuned in, and it was like 17 overtimes later. I was like, Jesus. I think that Texas is just one of those. Texas is just like the Cowboys, just perennially overrated is what it boils down to every year. It's crazy to me.
One of the funniest things at the end of that game, Oklahoma got the interception, and they panned the camera to the crowd, and this college girl just gave 2 birds right to the camera.
No, wow.
She was a Texas fan. She was flipping the camera off. I thought it was pretty funny. Had me laughing on that one.
Did you file an FCC complaint against it?
I immediately wrote a hand letter and mailed it.
My children watched it.
So the next big one, and Bill's a big fan of Texas A&M. They beat Florida.
Yeah.
A close one, 31-28 or somewhere around there.
Charles' squad right there.
The Jimbo and them boys put it on them Gators.
Yeah, you know what? Anytime Florida loses, it's a good thing. So I can't say too much about it. Although Florida looked really good so far this year, and this just looked like they just total crap the bed. But I think it was 38-31. Is that what it is? But
yeah, last second field goal it looks like, and then I believe that Jimbo has Florida's number. Like he's got a crazy record against them Gators. So when he takes them boys against them Gators, it's over.
That's the first top 5 team that he's beaten with Texas A&M.
Oh, okay.
So they did mention that because most of the time he's playing Alabama, who just mollywops him. So, and then a close one that was later, it was close to the half, was Tennessee and Georgia. I heard about Tennessee's big offensive line and defensive line. Well, they kind of fell apart. Georgia pulled away, ended up winning 44-21. But it was close in the first half, so I will say that. And then probably a surprise of the day is the defending national champs lost.
They got some cracks in that. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
they need their Burrows back really badly. Apparently,
were they just gutted by the draft? Is that basically what happened? Like, did all their talent just leave? I think
I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
they are
at least at the important positions. Yeah, I think they lost some real crucial people.
So Missouri, out of all teams, pulls the upset and beats LSU today. And then another one, Mac Brown and the little North Carolina Tar Heels scored 56 points today to beat Virginia Tech. Now, interesting, this game they were up like 28-14 or something, and they let Virginia Tech creep back into it. So they gave up almost 40 against Virginia Tech as well. But they've finished them off. Ranked 8th in the country right now.
I think Steve is oddly into North Carolina right now.
I kind of am a little bit.
Yeah, I think you are. I can just feel that vibe. Like you're like
Brown love. Or...
Yeah, he does. He brings them up in a positive light every week when he talks about them.
Well, they won. What am I
okay, that's your Texas A&M right there. North Carolina, Mac Brown.
All right, so Notre Dame, North Carolina for me.
Yeah.
They got nice colors too. That baby
Yes,
blue.
he does. He likes them. He brings them up all the time.
I like him
Like
for
the Carolina
football.
blue.
Yeah, he does, man. You're talking about them Tar Heels. Steve perks up.
So of course tonight Alabama's playing Lane Kiffin's Fighting Rebels or whatever the hell the name of them are. Right? Bill, any chance that Lane Kiffin can pull the upset against your squad?
Not likely.
No, they're probably gonna drop 50 on them. Not gonna be a fun game to watch.
Well, I think the Ole Miss will score too, unless the weather is just so horrible that they can't get any footing. It should be kind of a track meet game. But yeah, I don't expect it to be all that close though either.
And then at 7:30, which is in about 6 minutes, Notre Dame's playing Florida State. This game would have been great in 1993.
Yeah.
I fully expect Notre Dame to run away with this one. Florida State's pretty rough right now. They almost lost to Jacksonville State. They lost to Georgia Tech. They're not the full FSU of old. So that being said, wouldn't surprise me if Notre Dame goes out and drops an egg, but they should win that one. Anyone argue on that fact?
No, Florida State's rough.
No, that
Florida
should
State's
be a
real rough.
complete total beatdown.
Yeah. And I don't know, some of the highlights, some games were just getting pounded by rain. Arkansas is up on Auburn right now, 28-27.
Got it on here on the side by one but Auburn's, I think, about near the Arkansas 20.
Yeah.
Driving in with about 3 minutes.
They lose to Arkansas. That'd be a Gus Malzahn hot seat moment right there. Yeah. They lose to Arkansas. But they should finish that one up. I think the COVID's benefiting us because we're going to get a game Monday night and Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So we might get more football per week because of the COVID.
Yeah, but the problem was I didn't get laid off because of COVID. I can't watch all these games. I got issues, man. I got to work in the morning all the time, and the NFL's on 5 days a week. I can't do this. It's just going to show you that they need a bubble. I know they don't want to hear it, and everyone keeps saying, well, how do they do it? You got to figure out something. Because this shit ain't going to last. You got to abbreviate the season and put these people, take over a city, take over Indianapolis or do something because it is getting worse and worse as these weeks go on, as we predicted right here on this show, Fat Guys on a Little Podcast, Part 2.
Part 2.
Oh, I heard on the McAfee show this week that apparently the players have been very strongly resistant to any kind of a discussion of a bubble.
Really? They're anti-bubble? Oh wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think they're gonna make it if they don't? I don't see it possible. I don't know.
Well, I mean, eventually the whole league will have it, so that they can just go on from there after 2 weeks.
Yeah. Suspend all play for 2 weeks, expose everyone. That's also known as the Clemson, Alabama treatment of the COVID-19.
One of the Watt brothers that plays for Pittsburgh was on, and they said he was kind of going through the protocols on the Pat McAfee show of what they go through. And, like, you know, he said he's tested every day. All he does is get tested, go to the facility, come home, doesn't go anywhere, and comes back. So there's some guys that are taking it very seriously.
So what you're implying is that there's some guys that are not taking it very seriously.
Yes,
is what you're implying. Oh, okay.
There's some guys that might just be going to the club just to have some fun.
Wow.
But we'll see. We'll see how much further they make it. I mean,
going around the room, what does everyone the digital room here? What does everyone think? Is there a possibility that this? Because now they're into like forfeiting games and doing all what do they do? I don't understand.
Add 2 more weeks at the end of the season.
Yeah, there does seem to be the thought that they'll do that, where, you know, any games that can't be played because of COVID, they can just play those last couple weeks of the season. But sort of, again, kind of going back to the discussion that was had on the McAfee show, what do you do with teams that are so woefully out of the playoff picture and you have them come back for a meaningful game when their season's over? I mean, how many people are suddenly going to start opting out of games at the end?
Yeah,
they don't want to come
don't
back.
Don't they get checks per game, though?
They do.
So
but it's a risk reward. So hold on, Stu, to his point. Like, is it worth the $250,000 to snap a knee? Or, you know, I think that's going to be the question if the season's lost. So if you were supposed to be a Super Bowl contender and you screwed up the season completely, And now, you're due a decent sized check and you're probably a starter or whatever, but is it worth the risk? I don't know. That's going to be a question. I It's such a confusing year for sports. It makes my head hurt a little bit.
Well, besides the COVID, we did get a Thursday night football game that I actually got to see because it was on Fox for once and not the NFL Network. And did anyone else notice that Tom Brady doesn't know how many downs there is?
Yeah, they came out and tried to defend him. BB, did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
What were they defending him about?
They're trying to say he knew it was fourth down. I'm like, that. No, he didn't. You could tell by the way that play went out. Like, that's a way to save face, but there's no way.
And all the stuff he threw on the sideline. Come on, he was pissed. He fucked up. But it was a decent game, even though Bears games are so goddamn boring, and then they win. I was telling Bill earlier in the week, I think it's the worst 4-1 team I've ever seen.
Well, they keep getting gifts. I mean, the Bucks basically should have blown this out in early to mid second quarter. They had 2 almost certain touchdowns that didn't happen. I think one just a pass was, he looked the wrong way and it was over the wrong shoulder or something. He missed that when Evans was wide open. They had another one that could have been a touchdown. They ended up kicking field goals, and then they had that one fumble where it looked like they originally called it incomplete, but this running back caught it and got clocked and then fumbled the ball and gave the ball to the Bears, I think at like the Bucks 20. So it went from being, should have been probably 21-24-0 to 13-7, and then, suddenly it's a game. And I mean, the Bears are a very lucky team this year so far. They're getting a lot of gifts.
Hey,
you remind me.
Don't be good, just be lucky. Is basically what it boils down to,
Well, they remind me a lot when Steve Mariucci was on the Lions and they went 4-1, and then they finished the season like 6-12. Yeah. So
life happens, is what you're saying.
Whatever
catches up with them. Yeah,
wouldn't be 6-12, but 6 and.
We get you.
We get you. Yeah, 6-10. Sorry, but so they kind of remind me of that. So we'll see if that happens or if they just keep getting lucky all season long. So I thought I would report finally the end of NBA with the Lakers finishing up on Miami. I did watch the game. Anyone catch the game last night?
I did. I watched part of it. Jimmy Buckets keeps showing up. That's crazy.
Yeah. Someone forgot to tell Jimmy Butler he's supposed to lose.
Dude, he did not get that memo in the bubble, apparently.
And that little white guy, was his Hero is his last name or something?
The young kid.
Yeah, where the hell did he come from?
He's like 12 years old. He's grown adult.
The other white kid that kept hitting threes is Duncan Robinson. I don't even know who the hell he is.
They're playing out their ass right now. I gotta tell you, I've watched the past 2 games. LeBron is such an actor, though. Oh my God, it is unbelievable. Even deep in the playoffs and I'm like, dude, can you calm him down with flopping? It's so bad.
Oh, and he's such a huge dude, and he's ripped, and he's big shoulders. Someone taps him, and he
flies into the front row of the digital front row. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know they all do it, but God, he really emphasizes
He is so egregious with it. It's not even funny. So
Miami pulls off the win, 111-108. So we're getting a game 6 tomorrow night. Who's not pulling for Miami at this point? Everybody wants Miami. I mean, forget the Lakers. They even had their black Kobe outfits on. They were ready to celebrate the Kobe
Mambas, dude. They broke out the Mambas. Yeah.
I think that offended Jimmy Butler.
Oh, man. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Jimmy Bucket's all over the place. I was like, wow. This dude was out of the league, practically. Yeah, it's crazy.
He goes to the line, gets a foul in the fourth quarter, hits a shot, and he's got to stop and lean over the frickin' the stand for the basket for like 30 seconds before he can go back to
he's taking a pounding.
I think he's playing basically every minute of the game now.
Wow. He's really good, man. He's one of those players that like you heard about could be good, but then like he struggled for so many years with injuries and stupidity and like weird team dynamics and and then when he's finally, it's like, man, this dude is really good. Like, holy crap. Yeah. Like, he is legit putting that team on his back and going. It's crazy.
And I love his attitude. He's always pissed off, hates everybody.
Yeah.
He's kind of, like we said before, a throwback kind of player.
Yeah, he's a little scrappy, and so he's got no love for LeBron. Like he's always jaw jacking at him and stuff. I'm like, this is fun. Like I'm kind of into it.
He's that one dude that everybody else just praise him. He probably says like, "Fuck LeBron."
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah,
He's certainly not afraid to go heads up with him.
Yeah.
So 3-2, Lakers still in the lead. Maybe they put them away Sunday, or maybe the Heat keep going. We will find out.
I know this one. I'm gonna tune in. I know BV, you gonna check it out. I know I'm gonna tune in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to switch back and forth between that and although the Sunday night game, I think, for football this week is Seattle and Minnesota. So maybe that'll be enough of an ass beating that.
No, yeah, by halftime you can just flip over.
Yeah, but I'll probably pay more attention to the basketball than I will to football this time because I'm just like kind of Steve said. I mean, I'm not a fan of either team, but how can you not root for frickin' Miami right now?
Yeah. They are pretty good. Just a scrappy little team that won't go away, and I find it kind of funny. All right, so now, Charles, I'm going to introduce a new segment here. It won't be every week, but the three of us, as anyone can tell by looking at the video, we like to eat. All right? So,
you can't tell what our 18 taste tests we have every week.
Yeah. So I wanted, if one of us goes to a new restaurant that nobody's been to before, I'd like to start. We kind of always incorporate it when we go on road trips and stuff, but a new Eats review here today. I went this past Thursday because my daughter had a volleyball game out of town, so me and Michelle were like, oh, let's go out to dinner so we don't have to pay for three people, just two of us. And we went to the new place over there in Eureka called Bubba's 33. Are you familiar with that place, Charles? Have you seen that?
I've seen it. It's by the old, the old Star Theater and the old Art Van, kind of over in that. I've seen it. It's owned by the same. They own another restaurant. Is Lone Star or something? Someone else who owns this particular franchise owns another one too. It's like under the same ownership as like Red Lobster and Olive Garden kind of thing.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
I'm 90% sure it is.
We got there. It was about a 30-minute wait. They're doing the same thing Texas Roadhouse is doing. So you call in, leave your name. If we had known that, we would have called before we left the house. That way we wouldn't have waited as long. But we didn't know. So, but
did you take Mr. Henson with you? Oh,
no, no, that ain't happening. They specialize in pizza and burgers. It was called a Nacho Mama pizza.
Oh.
And it's an old school Mexican kind of pizza. So it has a layer of beans, layer of cheddar cheese, a layer some.
But let me stop you for a second. Is it on regular pizza crust though?
Yeah, it's a thin pizza crust.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So it's a little crackery or a little nacho-y is what you're saying. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. It's not super thin nacho, those thin crusts, but it's a little bit thinner than like a $5 hot and ready.
Okay.
It's like that crust, but a little thinner. And then it has cheddar cheese, some sour cream on it, and then ground beef and spicy chicken on it. So it was pretty good. It was actually spicier than I anticipated. I was like, ooh, that had a little kick. But the one, and I also, of course, because that's what I do, I got a side salad. Highly recommend the side salad here.
Steve gives it 2 salads out of 5. Just so
I give this salad a 4 out of 5.
Oh man!
It's a lettuce, it's onions, it's eggs, it's tomatoes, and then on the top of it, they take. You ever had those like little fried onions, like they put on top of green bean casserole?
Yeah, like French's fried onions kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like those, but they're potatoes instead of onions.
So they're shoestring potatoes.
Yeah, but very thin. Yeah, they're almost like paper thin. They're pretty good. So I highly recommend the side salad. Michelle, she got the lasagna. They had a lasagna there. Of course, she loves lasagna. And she had a mixed drink. It was like a lemonade mixed with a raspberry, like martini. It was pretty good. It was $7.
What's the theme on the inside of the place? Is it like... What's the theme inside of there? Like, is it like a Applebee's kind of thing? Is it like a bar and grill kind of thing?
TVs everywhere, a lot of benches and stuff like that, and a big bar in the middle. So yeah, it's like an Applebee's / Chili's type. The prices were reasonable. Like the Nacho Mamba pizza was like $10, Michelle's was only like $11. So yeah, the drink was a little pricey, but drinks are pricey everywhere you go. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty good. And then we saw some sandwiches. The one guy had next to us, it was like that big. They got some pretty good sized sandwiches. So maybe next time I'll have to get a sandwich. But they also had a stromboli there. That's what I almost got. Michelle and I were both debating on that. It looked like about that big. Stromboli, and it had like all kinds of meats and cheese in it. So pretty good place. I like it. So on a scale of 10, I give it probably a 7. Pretty solid.
What kind of dessert did you and Michelle get?
Well, if she gets a mixed drink, we don't get a dessert.
Oh, those are the rules. Who knew? You had no coupons for dessert.
No coupons. So. But she got the mixed drink instead. That was her words, not mine. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'd probably try it again. It's not a place that I would be like, oh my God, I gotta go back to Bubba's, but it was pretty good. And I think it is a chain because we saw one up north, and I think it's throughout the country. Bubba, I have no idea why they call it Bubba's 33. I don't know where the number 33 comes from, but
I think, like I said, now that you mentioned, if they got the same procedures, I think it's Texas Roadhouse that they're like a their other concept. I think is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Because like I said, my boss hit me up about it. I'm like, this was back when I really wasn't going to restaurants. I'm like, no, I'm good. Because it's only been open since the whole pandemic, I want to say. It's not been open too long.
And man, they turned away so many people because the people, you see them while we were waiting, they would walk up and be like, how long is the wait? And, well, if you'd have called ahead, but it's 30 or 40 minutes, at least 10 different couples left because they had to wait that long. Didn't want to sit through it, but yeah. So new section, new eats review. Anyone eats at a unique place we haven't tried, try to put it on there. Probably won't be every week.
Did you go to the theater this week? Or are you going to the theater tomorrow? What are you doing? Because isn't the theater opened already officially?
Yeah, it's great. It's open. It's like a new console. It's open, but there's no games to play out of it. There's no movies.
No
Unless
movies
I'm
to
go
watch.
See Empire Strikes Back. I mean, there's no reason to. And then a lot of movies are being shipped off till next year that we're going to open in November. So there's no point right now. Yeah. So before we move on from food, by the way, I wanted to show everyone this at home.
It looks like a dog food can.
It literally does.
It's just pedigree, right? Is that what that says?
Now, on the directions, by the way, sodium, 410 milligrams, and that's times 3.5 because it's 3.5. So it's like 1,600 milligrams.
Oh, Jesus.
Of that. So the heating instructions for this thing, they said to cook it in the brine. I'm going to see if people can see this. This is it's pretty disgusting looking. I don't know. Can you see that?
It's gross looking.
Yeah, it's like it's in dirty water. I don't even know what's going on. And they boil them in the shell.
Oh, they look gross.
Look at Michelle creeping in on the podcast. This is so weird. Look at BB's face. BB wants to know what's going on. BB's confused.
I'm going to try one of these boiled peanuts. I don't know who eats these. Like I was telling the guys before the podcast, this looks like an ingredient that shows up on Chopped that you have to include in your meal.
And Ted Allen says, and boiled peanuts. Did you eat the whole thing or did you de-shell it?
I ate the whole thing. I don't know.
Is that what you're supposed to do? Oh.
This is so disgusting.
Oh.
It is literally, oh my God.
Is it mushy? It looks like it would be mushy. Oh,
come on, man.
BB's offended. BB's offended.
It's literally, oh my God.
Maybe Michelle would want to eat more of those, and now you just spat back into it.
She can have it. Nobody's going to want it. It's like a spoonful of salt.
Oh, Jesus. Is it mushy? It looks like it would be mushy.
It's mushier than a regular peanut. The shell's mushier, but it's just so goddamn salty. Oh,
I wonder if you rinsed them before you spat into them, as BB said. I wonder if you rinsed them.
Well, it says not to. It says the instructions are pouring content into saucepan to heat till desired temperature, or microwave for a minute and a half in the brine. Is what it says.
The brine.
In the brine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is disgusting. I don't know who eats this.
Where did she pick that up at?
She randomly found this at Myers on a shelf somewhere.
Okay.
So I'm a big no. A 0 out of 10.
BB had high hopes. He was going to go out and buy some boiled peanuts tonight. Now he's not going to.
Absolutely not going to.
It says real Southern style. So maybe this is a Southern treat. You'll have high blood pressure if you eat half a can of those.
It's canned hypertension. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's just pure salt. Ugh, God, that was terrible. That was one of the worst taste tests I think we've ever had. So
And
there you
we've
go.
eaten quite a crap on this show.
Wow, that was bad.
Better, maybe. Try some chips.
Oh, she's breaking out more chips. Here you go, BB.
We'll try these for next week. More Nashville hot Frito-Lay chips.
That's all right. Yeah.
That sounds actually kind of good. So you guys can try to see if you can find that for next week. I'll hold these off till next week. And just keep that lovely taste of salt in my mouth for now. So there we go. Anyways, let's get some reviews and thoughts. Now, this is that time of year where a lot of shows have either ended or me and Michelle have cracked through a lot of them. So I thought I'd watch the show. It's called The Order. Now, I'm going to give you the synopsis of it. A young kid goes to a college. There's a secret society in the college, and that society practices magic. Not a bad concept. I could sit through that.
This smells of Michelle found this one for you guys to watch.
Honestly, I did because I knew she was into magic. There's two seasons.
Oh, my God.
2 seasons on Netflix, 10 episodes. I made it through the first 3, and I'm never watching that show again.
Dude, it sounds like a bad CW show.
You're exactly right. Or MTV. Do you remember when MTV redid
Teen Wolf? Yeah, it's got like that bad effects and stuff like that.
And matter of fact, there's even a werewolf in the show that's a CG werewolf that looks terrible. It looks like from PS1.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, CW, or this is something Holly might be into because of the young kids in it. It's just bad. It's terrible. Don't watch it.
So wait, so what's the premise of it? So they practice magic and then lichens are coming into this world or something? And
that's not even the There's a group of secret werewolves that the Order don't even know about that are just killing random college kids in the forest next to the school. But apparently the police don't even care about because they don't even investigate it. And then like the Order is like evil kind of witch people, and the kid who's trying to join them, his mother was murdered by one of these people in the Order. So he's trying to become one of the members to find the guy who killed his mother, and then kill him. Is essentially the concept of the show. And it's 10 episodes. I made it through 3, and it was terrible. Even Michelle, who loves magic and those kind of shows.
Who loves magic? Even Michelle, who loves magic, is way.
Well,
it's just a funny thing. She's way into magic and sorcery, and it's like
Harry Potter.
It's just funny.
Charm.
Yeah, Charm. This is just bad. This is terrible. This is a 2 out of 10. I can't believe we made 2 seasons of this. So that's.
What did Michelle give it out of 10? How many wands out of 10 did Michelle give it?
If Michelle probably give it about a 4. Even she doesn't want to. She after the first 3 episodes, she doesn't even want to watch it anymore. Jeez. That's how cheesy and bad the show is. So we struck out there on that show. So we got to find a different show coming up. Also, I've watched the end. So Walking Dead, because of COVID, postponed their final to just now, which then is going to launch off the new show. I forget, Beyond Walking Dead Beyond, the World Beyond or something. I didn't watch that. I just watched the season finale of The Walking Dead, which it was okay. They did the move, Charles, where they put the zombie guts on themselves to get
the move they should have been doing 7 seasons ago. Yes, okay.
Yeah. Somehow they remembered that move and they did that.
Weird how that works.
They did that in this episode. But what made it more dangerous is the Whisperers, the people who are after them, also hide in the crowd of zombies. So you got regular zombies and then people with knives trying to stab you in the crowd while Daryl is trying to make it through. It's Walking Dead. It's the last season. It wasn't terrible. It's not great. It's like Charles with Saturday Night Live or me and Bill with wrestling. It's like, at least I have an end in sight. Where Charles, there will be no end of Saturday Night Live. So at least I got that coming for me.
But unlike you, The Walking Dead, I bailed on Saturday Night Live. I couldn't. When Carl was dying for 6 episodes in a row is when I finally lost track of The Walking Dead. I couldn't do it. I just had to bail. I think the Negan storyline, and again, he loves North Carolina and he loves Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I get it.
He lives in North Carolina.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but like, he is the scourge of that show. He ruined it. As much as he was a great character and a great actor on that show, that whole plot line just ruined that show for me. So
Yeah.
BB,
Bill,
doesn't your woman watch it? Yeah, isn't Abby into it?
I think so. I think she still watches it. Is this the was this the last season, or is there still one more?
so one more coming season. So you got
Yeah, she's also a big fan of Negan. So.
Oh man, she got that Carolina jersey on, Steve. What?
Shut
Who
that
are
shit down.
Yeah, who?
we're gonna gang
So
rape
we've got.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I just want you to know that.
Oh Jesus, just got real dark. Who's left? So we got Carol and Daryl, right? Is that who's left?
Yeah, they're left.
Is
Maggie just came
Michonne
back.
still there?
No, Michonne just left this past season.
Okay.
Maggie, the girl Maggie, the character there, she's back because her show on CBS got canceled.
Oh man.
The creepy preacher guy is still there.
Okay. Is he blind still or whatever? Or?
In one eye.
Okay.
Yeah, his other eye's fine. Eugene is still there.
Okay.
Ezekiel, the guy's the tiger. The tiger's dead, but he's still there.
Oh, that digital ass tiger.
Yeah, they killed the digital ass tiger. That's him, Ezekiel the king.
I don't know.
Yeah, the guy with the dreads, but he's got like a big cancerous lump on his throat, so he ain't gonna be there much longer. Is
it like in real life or in the show?
Just in the show.
Oh my dude, call Dr. Pimple Popper, man. Maybe.
No, it's some kind of cancer that runs in his family, and they have no way of fixing it. So he's supposed to be on borrowed time, I guess, or some shit. So there's a handful of them that are still left. We'll see. I'll keep you informed as the season goes on.
Give me the abridged. What happened to Rick? Did he just leave, or did they kill him? What did they do?
He was on a bridge, and this bridge kind of blew up. So the bridge blew up. His body went flying down a river. And then, you remember the garbage people? Did you see the garbage people? Yeah,
I know the garbage people.
The leader
of the
weird,
creepy chick, the blonde, or the brunette chick.
She found his body, drug him on the shore. He was still kind of half alive. And she called that helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter you could see in the background or whatever back in the day. Yeah.
And the helicopter showed up, picked both of them up, and took off. And that's the last you've seen of Rick. That was probably 3 years ago.
So it's very open-ended kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And the helicopter is part of some society, and the logo is like 3 circles. So that's supposed to be the movie that's going to come out on AMC with Rick Grimes. I imagine he's going to have a couple movies, and then he's going to show up in the last episode of the last season of The Walking Dead. And that would be my guess how it's going to end. But
where's Steve's opinion? We know BV's not into it. I bailed on it during the Carl stuff. Where are you at truly with this, besides for your love of Negan?
I play it on a Monday on my TV, and then I'm playing video games at the same time, so I'm not paying close attention. But I sit through it, and if something major happens, I'll pay attention. But usually nothing major happens. Just a lot of talking, standing around.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think the show should come to an end? That's what I guess is what I'm trying. Where does Steve think it should have gone? Should have went?
I've always had a Steve rule that any drama show should not go past 5 seasons.
Oh, okay.
They're way past that. So yes, this show should end, and then they shouldn't have 3 fucking spinoffs that they have right now. Yeah. So do the movies. That'd be a nice switch, actually. Do the show. And then just have a movie once a year with the Walking Dead cast. That would be probably a lot better. But I know that's not enough money, and it's not enough keeping jobs and stuff like that for people. So they're gonna do what they're gonna do. It's the only thing AMC has right now. So it's just like when HBO didn't want Game of Thrones to end. They don't want The Walking Dead to end.
They got bills to pay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the Badlands? Is anybody watching the Badlands?
No.
Not even still on.
It might be. I can't think of anything else on AMC right now. So there you go. The Walking Dead, the season finale, which is weird. So now I'm assuming the new season won't kick off until next year, and then they're gonna milk this Fear the Walking Dead and the World Beyond one, which I'm not watching. All right, Charles. Now we were talking this a little bit of pre-show. The Tax Collector. This stars Shia LaBeouf. And I don't know the other Mexican guy's name. He's really the star, is the Mexican guy, not Shia LaBeouf, Bobby, whatever his name is. Yeah, he's the actual star. So what their job is, they are tax collectors for all the LA gangs. So every gang has to pay up to this guy who his family runs all the gangs in LA. So you kind of go through it. It's made by the guy who made Training Day. So I thought there might be a
Antoine
chance.
Fuqua?
I thought David Ayers made.
No, I'm
Training
just
Day.
asking a question. I thought Antoine Fuqua did it. That's why I'm asking. I love the Replacement Killers is who Antoine Fuqua initially did. That's why I was curious. Okay.
No, David Ayers. That same guy made Suicide Squad and Training Day.
Okay.
So I thought I was gonna have that. And he's good at the gang violence and gang vibe and stuff like that. It was okay. And then so the main guy is named David, and then the other guy who's named Creeper, that's who Shia LaBeouf plays. And two of these guys basically drive around all over town picking up collections for the main head of the mafia. And of course, someone's coming in on their territory and wants them out of the picture, and a bunch of violence ensues. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but it's weird because the early reports on this movie was Shia LaBeouf got a giant tattoo across his stomach for the movie. And like I was telling Charles, there's no scene in the movie where he has his shirt off. So if he got that tattoo just for this movie,
he's just a crazy person.
Yeah, he's just a nutcase. And then he also they made his character have cauliflower ear, and they never really explained why. He just has cauliflower ear in both ears.
Just thought it would round out the character to him.
Yeah,
he was a high school wrestler. Is that what we're going?
Yeah, he must have been.
What?
They
couldn't afford headgear.
Yeah, he's really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Is that what's going on? Like, what is this?
And another thing, so Shia LaBeouf's character is only in maybe half the movie, and then he gets whacked, and then the rest is this other guy running around. So he's not even in it that much. So I thought that was kind of funny too. George Lopez shows up. He plays the one guy's maid uncle. Jimmy Smith shows up. He plays the main mafia guy that's in prison, or gang leader in prison. It's a slow movie. It felt more like a Netflix movie than a theater release movie. We always had that theory that Netflix movies are passed down movies, and I feel like that's what this was. So this is going to get the Steve Netflix 6. That's all it gets. It wasn't a terrible movie. It's not like I watched 2 hours of it and went, oh my God, I want my 2 hours back. It was okay. It was just all right, So there you go. But why Shia LaBeouf got that giant tattoo makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Is this a family video rental you picked up? Is that what this is?
Yeah, exactly what it is.
Really quickly before you move on, I looked up really quickly. You're both kind of right on Training Day. It was written by David Ayer, but directed by Antoine Fuqua.
So. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So there we go. Not a bad movie, but not the greatest either. This could have been a Netflix movie. And the main girl who's married to the main guy has big fake lips. You could tell she just got them injected.
Oh, man.
So distracting. What's it, those lips?
There's no lines in them. They're just blown up. Like,
yeah, they were super blown out lips.
No, it looks supernatural. No one would ever notice that.
That's not fake at all.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that was mediocre at best. Walking Dead was mediocre, and The Order was terrible. So we're batting 1,000. Where last week things were a lot better. Now we're gonna walk into WWE Battlegrounds. Now I don't know if Bill or you have played WWE All Stars back in the day, or of course you both have played NBA Jams and NFL Blitz. Basically, WWE Battlegrounds is like that. It's the over-the-top arcadey kind of wrestling game, which I enjoy from time to time. Shouldn't be too bad. But I gotta tell both of you right now. This is a goddamn mobile game.
Yeah.
That's all this is. I remember when I said the Dark Crystal game was a mobile game. This one legitimately is, because if you want to unlock guys, you either got to grind for hours or buy them.
Yeah, they just microtransaction the shit out of it, huh?
So, yeah, an example, Hulk Hogan is a guy you can get 12,000 credits. You only get like 300 to 400 credits per match.
Yeah.
So how many... And he's just one of them, and each character is ranked. So there's common.
Yeah, I want to say the Rock is like supposed to be like the best one or something like that. I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pay $12,000 to unlock him and all this other stuff. And then when you go to the career mode, you don't even get to be one of the wrestlers. They give you some generic guy, made up guy you get to be, like.
But is the action fun? Is it like over the top, cartoony kind of action, like an NBA Jam or a Blitz?
Yes. So you're gonna do a pile driver. You go flying through the air and spin and drop him on his head and stuff like that.
Is it fun to execute those kind of things and just kind of pick up and goof around a little bit?
It's pretty easy and basic. Yes, the gameplay itself isn't that bad. It's everything else around it. But also when you take like a wrestler like Randy Orton, for instance, he doesn't have his moves. So the game breaks the wrestlers into 4 categories: high flyer, brawler, technician, and I forget the other. Powerhouse. And whichever category your wrestler's in, those are the set moves you get. So like Big Show and Undertaker are powerhouses, so they have the same moves because they're that
So you're
category.
saying there's no moves specific to each character, is what you're saying?
Right.
So in other
right.
words, when I'm The Rock, I can't do the people's elbow or nothing?
No, that's only their one main move you can do. So The Rock's main move probably be the what's the one?
Oh,
Not
but you hit a
elbow.
special, yeah.
The
but
rock bottom, yeah. That's it. All the rest of the moves are the same generic moves everybody has.
That seems
So
like
Orton has RKO, but that's it.
That's it. And even the taunts are 4 generic taunts. So like the guy's going na 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 na. There's no like DX doesn't do the crotch chop or the Rock doesn't do the just bring it. It's just generic taunts that are scheduled into the wrestlers. So it kind of cut corners.
So what's the point of even going and getting a Hulk Hogan or an Austin if you got like a generic move set anyway? It's just skins at that point.
Yeah, well, you can still do the big leg drop at the very end.
Okay.
And they do give them their music when they walk to the ring. So you got the music, the skin, and the one main move.
This sounds
whack. And another thing too, when they have the entrance, they drop a box, and your wrestler breaks out of the box like he's a big action figure, and then he comes down so they don't even do like the entrances they do in real wrestling. Like Undertaker doesn't come down and the lights don't go off or anything like that. He just comes down in a box and then kicks the box open and walks down to the ring. It's real weird. It's real weird choices. It's super grindy, and if you don't want to grind, you got to buy everything. So I'm not a big fan. I mean, if the game was $10, maybe,
let me ask the question. It sounds like it has a shit ton of potential. The game they wrapped it in is not. So like to me, NBA Jams meets wrestling. Like I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, and then but they wrapped it in a shitty wrapper. Is what you're telling me?
Yes, exactly it.
Oh.
And so you want the NBA Jam version of wrestling, so you're going to grab The Rock, and I'm going to grab Austin.
Yeah, and we're going to, mix it up with that, and kind of over the top.
You can't grab those guys till you unlock them by grinding through the campaign mode.
That sounds like crap.
Or get $20 out and buy them is what you got to do essentially.
Is the game free to play before that?
No, it's $40.
And you gotta pay $20. Get out of here with this game.
Yeah, I know.
This is the biggest hustle move I've ever heard.
This is a mobile console game. That's all I can think of.
That's crazy.
Because of what it is, I'm giving it a 2. No one should play this. If it was free, or even if you charge me $40, I should be able to unlock the characters pretty easily. Or I should be able to play the characters in exhibition and then unlock them in the campaign mode or whatever. But you can't even do that. It's no thanks. So goodbye to Battle Royale, Battlegrounds. It's just a cheap money grab because they canceled the regular wrestling game it's supposed to come out.
Well, because the last one was a dumpster fire. That's why.
Yeah, yes. So this is the only wrestling action you're getting, and then on top of that, they're gonna milk you.
I think it could have been good though. That's everything you're saying. If I'm gonna sit down with you and discuss like what could be a fun wrestling game, NBA Jams meets the wrestling universe sounds like a fun time. But like to your point, they wrapped it in a way of like we can make a ton of money off these wrestling idiots by it's just shame on them.
And then also like creator wrestlers in there. But if you want some cool gear, you can buy them.
Upgrades,
yeah. So that's in there. That's ridiculous.
Welcome to gaming in 2020. Between Steve's update for Madden today and then microtransactions, it's crazy.
Now, back on Xbox 360, WWE All-Stars came out. That was where they were super muscular, and it was arcadey. But guess what? All the guys were in it. You had to unlock a couple from wrestling, and that was it. But this thing, screw this thing. So, all right, so that was that one. Now, this week, I got to watch on Apple TV while I was at work on one of the... don't tell anybody. So I put it on one screen in my office and then worked on my other one. Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet. Now, this wants to be like an office-type show based on a company building a video game. Does that make sense? So Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet is essentially World of Warcraft is what it is. And Raven's Banquet is like their big expansion on Mythic Quest. And what you got is the main guy who's always sunny in Philadelphia who has a beard. And then you've got this one Asian/Australian girl who's the head programmer. And then this quirky white guy with a mustache who's like the producer. And the problem with ensemble casts you have to cast it perfectly, right? And, like The Office had the perfect one. The Office is good. Parks and Rec is good. Superstore is good because you like each actor in their roles, and they're over the top, but they're not super over the top. And I don't know if that makes sense, but
There's still
like
somewhat believable veins to
yes,
them. Yeah,
yes,
they're not a
like
character the whole time. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, and everyone in this Mythic Quest is a character, over the top character. Everyone.
Yeah.
And there's always some extreme crazy thing happening. Like someone hacks into the server and takes over the control of one of the non-controllable PC characters. And then they're all just running around crazy. And oh my God, it's all crazy. Where The Office had subtle things that went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had the two morons, Michael and Dwight.
But even
and
Dwight still had like the relationship with Angela that was a weird gray area and everything. Like you can justify like real trappings with his character.
Yeah, so it feels like this show was trying for that, but just missed the mark totally. And everything's over the top. Everyone's a character. Now, here's the weird thing. So it's following this group. In the 5th episode of the series, totally brand new show. They bring in that little guy with the beard off of Jack Johnson is his name. He's off of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Him and this woman meet up in a video game store, and it covers their whole life as they become game developers, make a game. The game eventually gets taken away by corporate or whatever else, and then they kind of divorce and go separate ways. That episode had nothing to do with the rest of the season. It was like, what is this? So it was so weird. In the middle of the season, they had an episode that had nothing to do with the rest of the show. So I don't know what the hell.
What they were going for that they missed the mark on was not necessarily The Office or Parks and Rec, almost like a Silicon Valley is what the. So
it's nowhere close.
Yeah, so Silicon Valley, to your point, had like all their specific type of characters, but they also had, like you said, like Guilfoyle was a compelling, character because he was deeper than what like what's going on here kind of thing. This is just over the top. It sounds like.
Yeah, it just missed the mark. There's a couple characters in it like there's this female assistant who's very psychotic and actually wants to kill people sometimes. She's kind of funny. And then there's the guy from Community, the Indian guy, tall, skinny guy.
Yeah.
He's in it. He's pretty good. But everyone else is just too over the top and just like they got a streamer that's always like he's like a 14-year-old kid. He's a streamer, and like every video game company depends on what he says about their video game.
Yeah.
He's like,
it's like Hollywood writing.
Yeah.
What are video games about? Like, and then
they like streaming, right?
Yeah. Well.
So it really missed the mark. So Apple TV, Greyhound's great. This one, not so much. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, I'll give it a 4 because a couple characters are funny in there. There are a few moments in it that are funny. If they could rework it for season 2 and tone it down some, and maybe recast a couple of things, it might not be too bad. But right now, as it is, it's a 4. Now let's go to something I did like this week, and this is the final. The Boys season 2 finally ended. The last episode, only 8 episodes. A little bit of a bummer, but it's good. Leave them wanting more, right? The one thing The Boys does that Utopia doesn't do. Utopia ended at the end of the season and left open like 6 different plot holes, the storylines. The Boys.
Let me pause you with your Amazon show. I'm gonna go use the bathroom while you talk about your Amazon show.
You can say what you want, but The Boys is pretty popular, Amazon or not. Yeah, so The Boys at least tied up all the loose ends. I like a show that does that. So at the beginning of the season, they're going to offer 3 or 4 different storylines, and then by the end of the season, they wrap them up, and then maybe introduce the bad guy for the next season. That's exactly what The Boys did. And I like shows that do that. I hate the shows that wrap up no storylines and then tell you come back for season 2, because who knows, it could get canceled, and then you'll never see the end of those storylines. But as far as I go, The Boys is really good. 8 out of 10 easily. Still ultra violent. If you don't like violence, then probably not your show. But I highly recommend it, especially if you have Amazon Prime. It's something to watch. So, Charles, what did you watch this week? Did he really leave? We are a shit show today.
He apparently actually did get up and go to the bathroom.
So anyways, about The Boys. So now they're going to have a spin-off of The Boys, which they're like, it's going to be the next Walking Dead, where they're going to spin this off to this, which I hope doesn't do too much.
Well, don't confuse my not going to the bathroom with paying any more attention than Charles did to that. So.
All right. I
Um,
feel so much better.
I'm sorry, what now?
Tell us about Good Eats.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Good Eats. I missed the whole Amazon show. That's a darn shame. Good Eats. I'm a huge fan of Elton Brown, who BV has as his background right now. This show was on for about 10 or 11 years, and then it went off the air. And now, because of psychos like me who are obsessed with the show, they're bringing it back. What it is, Elton Brown has a very scientific way of like showing you how to cook things. I hate people who cook with love. I hate Paula Deen. I hate any of these people that like don't measure the items that they throw in their bowl. That drives me up a wall, up a, because like cooking in and of itself is chemistry. You got to add a couple of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you have to have precise amounts, or else it doesn't come out consistently. And that's where Good Eats comes in. They also do a great job on this show of explaining to you like the anthropology of certain dishes and all that kind of stuff. I just love it. And then he also has a big cinematography background, so like the show is shot really well too. So they always do a good job of like having his weird over the top like puppets that he'll do, and then he always has like in the oven cameras and all this kind of stuff. I just can't say enough good things. I love Elton Brown. Steve is obsessed with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I'm obsessed with Elton Brown. I love this guy. He's one of the best, if not the best, like culinary mind in the country right now. I just love him. A lot of people know him. He's the host of that Cutthroat Kitchen. I'm sure Steve's seen that in his household, stuff like that. But I love his original show called Good Eats, and season 16 just premiered with a Halloween episode. He homemade York peppermint patties and Butterfingers. It was really super impressive. I just love it.
So I got one question for the show. Have you ever seen him make something with boiled peanuts?
No, because he always says avoid that with all costs. And funny part, he's a big Georgia guy. He's a big Southern guy. He's from he's from Marietta, Georgia, and stuff like that. And BV, do you watch the show at all? You know who Elton Brown is?
Yeah, no. We've been watching it for a long time.
Oh,
my question, because I haven't seen any of the new season. So are these all completely new episodes, or are these more of the reloadeds?
No, these are not reloaded. These are not him taking old concepts and then redoing them with his modern take on it. And these are all completely brand new stuff. At least this season 16 is so far. So that Halloween episode was him coming up with those 2 candy recipes, and he had a loose trappings of like he found an old book at a bookstore, and that's where the recipe was and all this kind of stuff, because he always puts a cinematography twist on it. I love Good Eats, man. Like I said, I'm obsessed. Steve can crush on his people. I crush on Elton Brown all the time. I love that dude.
Fair enough. You just recorded the episode when he cooks with the boiling peanuts. That's all I want to know.
Ain't no one watching that shit.
I wonder if he'll spit them back into the bowl like you did.
He probably should.
BB's offended by your atrocities.
I don't care. That was a mouthful of salt. So, Charles, you followed up with Mafia. I have not yet, so you beat me to the punch. Mafia 2 on PS4.
Yeah, so I completed the first game because I've talked at length about how that first Mafia game just checks so many boxes, and in my opinion is so skewed to that first Mafia game. And then that Hangar, what is it, Hangar 13 that redid that for, they did a phenomenal job of the remake of that first game. It was great, loved it, couldn't get enough of it. And then we play Mafia 2. They didn't give the same, and obviously the first Mafia game that they just released was a ground up rebuild. Mafia 2 is like one of those like things where they just updated the assets to it. It didn't really get any kind of real definitive edition treatment, I guess is what I'm to go from that remake of the first Mafia into this one is a huge letdown. The other thing that drove me nuts was going from Mafia 1 to 2, the controls changed slightly. And that was kind of annoying because, like, you know, certain button actions on the PS4 controller did certain things in that remake. And then here it was, I should have been able to just go right into the second one. I had to kind of relearn and remap in my brain what buttons did what. The other thing of note, and Steve said he wasn't going to get it on the PC because he's heard rumors that it's a little broken. I've had a lot more open world jank in the second one, even on PS4, than I did on the first one. So I've had a couple missions that didn't finish up properly, as we talked about before. I had a couple things where I couldn't figure out how to do the next motion that they wanted me to do. Like there was this one example, like early on, where I had to climb out onto a ledge, and I couldn't get my character to do it. I couldn't get like the button prompt to do it, so then I had to reload the last checkpoint and stuff. So it again, I'm skewed when it comes to the Mafia games because I'm in love with those games so much. But I just think it's a huge letdown from the first one to that part two, is what I would say. You almost would have been better off playing 2 and 3 before they re-released the first one, is what I would say.
So let me ask you this. I found it for $20 online. Should I get it?
I think you could for like PS4 or something like that, or what?
No,
well, yeah,
PC.
PC. Yeah, I think you totally can. Because the nice part is they'll give you the upgrade to the definitive editions for free on the PC. Because I'm gonna get a Mafia 3. I told Steve this midweek. I'm gonna get a used copy of Part 3. They're gonna give me the definitive edition of 3 for free. So I think you should. It's just a continuation, and like I said, I'm a bit of a sucker. You don't want to necessarily listen to me, but there is some. It's not as good, is what I'll tell you this. So
What do you scale 1 to 10? What are you giving it?
so far, I give it like a 7. Like it's a C. It's a C, is what it boils down to.
Is it 20 missions again, or is it more than that?
I haven't completed it yet. I beat it a long time ago on PS3. So I don't know how long this one. I think it's about the same length, maybe a little bit longer, because to your point, it opens up a little bit more, kind of like you had assumed on 3. It opens a little bit more to that standard open world scenario where it's not so much cookie cutter mission into mission kind of thing. So it's going to take you a little while longer. I recommend it for anyone who, if you enjoyed the first one as much as I did, you're going to want anything in that universe. So.
All right, Mafia 2 PS4 gets a 7. That's going to do it for the reviews, but now we're going to go into everyone's favorite part of the show, Steve's Animation Corner.
No, let Bergeron know. I'm glad I already went to the bathroom because I want to talk about this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one I caught on abc.com. The animation, this is Blackish Election Special. It was the animated version of Blackish. I don't know why it was animated. I'm not sure.
They never explained that either. They just did.
Yeah, it just did an animated episode. Animation was okay.
It was an F is for family vibe to it, is what it had for me. It was very F is for family in the vibe of it.
In the storyline, Anthony Anderson's character's boss comes into a lot of money and decides to run for senator. And then Anthony Anderson stands up to him and decides to run against him. And it showed how like rich people could try to manipulate the candidates and stuff like that. And a rich guy tried to give Anthony Anderson the money and tell him to say certain things. Got a little preachy here and there, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. Charles, what did you watch?
Animation aside, I know Steve's criteria is how the animation is. I thought it was, like I said, F is for family. I didn't like the episode because it's going to be one of those things where it has nothing to do with the real show. It's just an episode and a slice of whatever. And it also, to your point, it went down roads that I just didn't understand. Like he's never, they make him very anti-politics in the previous seasons about like not wanting to vote and like being an inner city youth and all this kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden he's running, and it's like this is a little bit of a departure from how you kind of laid out the Andre Johnson character. I just thought it was a little weird. Yeah. So I wasn't a fan of this episode. I also wasn't a fan of the first episode too. I don't know if you watched both, but
I didn't see the first one. I just saw the one
premiere. Yeah, it was really.
What was the first one about?
The season premiere was his son finally got the ability to vote, and then it's like him playing weird YouTube videos of like the different eras and why you should vote. It was a very heavy-handed, and not in the good heavy-handed that I typically like with my Blackish, as me and you will definitely disagree with. But like this one just seemed like it was like a get out and rock the vote thing, and I'm like, okay, can I get a regular episode, please? I just wasn't into it.
And the oldest daughter came back for the episode.
Yeah.
which was weird. They brought her out of nowhere. It's like, oh, hey, I'm here. So I don't know. It was okay, but it felt a little preachy, like it always does. Even more, a little more than it probably should have been. So I'd probably give it about a 7. What did you think, Charles?
Oh, the animated episode, I give it like a 5. I was that because it's gonna have nothing to do with the main show. It was just a slice of life thing. I do like the F is for family aesthetic. I'll tell you that. I enjoy the animation type. If we're gonna get that Steve criteria, but BV, you watch Blackish? Did you check this out at all?
No, actually, they're sitting in my DVR. I haven't watched them yet.
Okay.
So Blackish election special came on. 2 episodes, animation. They don't really cover why they're animated. They just are.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd include these in my animation corner since chance you guys might have watched them. All right, Bill. Let's recap what you picked last week and what you're doing this week.
Okay, first, I think it's pretty clear that instead of calling this the cold lock pick of the week, we should call it the broken lock pick. As I mentioned in the beginning, outset of this this segment, I'm not very good at picking games. So last week, my pick was the Cowboys giving 4 points to the Browns. I don't recall the final score, but I recall that I think it was 49-38. The Browns basically trashed the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys tried to make a comeback before giving up a late touchdown.
Charles, are you laughing?
It was bad. It was really bad.
It was rough.
The whole time I was
looking,
looking, I was like, wow, they're about to get whooped up by the Browns. Like,
the Cowboys that were strong against the run suddenly couldn't stop anything at all. So, lost that. I'm now 1-2 in 3 weeks. Lost $10 on the whole betting thing, which makes me down $10.90 so far for the season. This upcoming week, I'll be honest, I didn't do the same level of research I've done in the past, so maybe that'll actually help me.
Yeah, maybe. You don't overthink it as much.
Yeah, no, so I kind of had to do this kind of quick. What I am picking, the game I'm picking this week is the Rams. They're giving Washington 7 points. The game's at Washington. And while I typically have a problem with West Coast teams playing 1:00 starts on East Coast stadiums, Washington's it's a complete dumpster fire.
They don't know who's their quarterback, right? They're pulling their QB.
Yeah, their head coach is getting cancer treatments at halftime. Dwayne Haskins.
I guess we shouldn't laugh at that, but
yeah, their first round quarterback from a couple of years ago, Dwayne Haskins. Last week, after Rivera had popped out that he was, not going to have that he didn't have a long leash with Haskins, that he wasn't just going to let him go on forever. Proceeds to throw over 300 yards, gets a rushing touchdown, and doesn't turn the ball over at all. Yet gets benched for Kyle Allen, who was a backup that played for Rivera at Carolina. And it's generally total and complete mess. Washington's not a good football team. The little research that I do have for this is that they're 1-3 against the spread. All 3 of their losses were by double digits, and the only game they covered was against Philly, who up until last week was and may still be a dumpster fire. So I'm taking this game more on how horrible Washington is and how much likelihood there is that there'll be a downward spiral with all the just sudden changes on this team than because of anything the Rams are doing. So, and in this particular case, is for the betting thing, is again putting $10 in the game. This one's a little bit more the negative 112 means that they're just a little bit more considered likely by Vegas to cover. So this $10 bet would only pay out $19 as opposed to, I think some of those are like $19.10, which is the sort of the standard 110. And so we'll probably be back here next week talking about how the Rams shat the bed, and Washington will, Kyle Allen will probably be like, the new backup du jour of the week, and they'll probably win by 3 touchdowns. But that's what we're going to go with for now.
What percent do you got, Steve? The usual conversation between me and you. What are you at?
Well, last week was the only week I disagreed with Bill because I have no confidence in the Cowboys. And if you remember, I said 50% last week.
Yeah.
This week, I'm saying 98% because I agree with him totally on this one. I like this pick. Last week, Vic, I was just lukewarm on. I was like, because it's Cowboys. But I really like this one. I think Bill's in the money here this week. 98%.
Wow,
Charles?
that's really high. First of all, I'm never going to give BB 98% of anything after all these picks.
I can't even argue with
I love you, BB, but no, that ain't happening, man. I'm going to go give BB the solid 40% chance because it's just BB's track record this season. And maybe my crapping on him will allow him to go. I told you, Charles, but right now BB is in a struggle and in a funk, and I'm going to go with 40%. Steve is way too high.
Just for the record, Charles, this was a last-minute switch. I was originally going to go with your Steelers, giving 6 points to the Eagles.
No.
Which,
Who knows what Eagles team you get, and then
that's why.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Were you pretty confident you know what Washington team you're going to get? It's going to be bad.
yeah, this is true.
I feel because of Washington's defense, they're going to be close in the first half, and then the Rams are going to pull away in a second. Kind of like the Tennessee-Georgia game this week. I think it's going to be similar.
I was way more confident in his Browns over, that Browns-Dallas game. Boy, oh boy.
I did not like that. Out of the 4 picks, that's the only one I liked the least was that Browns-Cowboys one. Just because I know the Cowboys are a clusterfuck to begin with. Because they beat a clusterfuck Falcons team that didn't even deserve to. They got an onside kick to beat them.
Yeah.
Well, and to make that worse, now people are giving the Browns way too much credit.
Wow,
they're going to inflate that, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, it just goes to show you how tough doing this is, man. BB is struggling, man. It's tough.
I like this segment. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so hard though on BB.
Yeah.
Throw BV to the Lions.
Well, you can pick baseball if you don't like football. I don't know shit about baseball, but all right. So
I don't even know who's still playing. So.
No,
I know Tampa Bay won. They just eliminated the Yankees.
Steve's just gonna throw out whatever. I saw this.
That's the only thing I know. All right, let's go with some new stuff this week as far as Netflix and other things. First up, I think near the end of this week comes out The Cabin with Bert Kreischer. This is that now, the only problem with the show, I feel it could be just him having fun with his comedic buddies, and it may not be that fun to watch.
It's the George Clooney effect, as we often coined on this show. Yep.
It's a series. It's not a movie, so you got 8 episodes.
The other thing, I don't want to cut you off, but just real quick. I don't want him to sit around with other comedians talking about how it's terrible, the cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, because I'm so tired of listening to comedians whine about cancel culture. It's exhausting to me.
Yeah. So if it goes that route, I'm going to bail on it quick. But if not, it just sticks to funny stuff. I'm a big yes. I'm probably going to watch because of this guy, but it's going to have a short leash if it starts getting too cheesy. Charles? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, quick question. Not to sound any less educated about television than I am already, but what exactly is cancel culture?
Cancel culture is basically where these people, when they say the wrong things, or if they don't exactly go by the liberal media, that people immediately call for the canceling of their shows and the canceling of their careers. And a lot of comedians right now feel persecuted against that they're just telling jokes and that everything they say is being thrown back in their face and people are trying to end their careers all the time. It's a big sticking. Me and Steve talk about it at length all the time. All these and I get it. It's got to be frustrating, but if you can't adapt, you're not that good of a comedian, is what it boils down to. I don't know. It's not that I'm into cancel culture. I'm just tired of listening to them whine about it, I think.
A great example of that was Gilbert Gottfried when he ripped on the typhoon or the tsunami in Japan and lost his job at Aflac, stuff like that. You can't be culturally insensitive as a comedian anymore. So, but then again, Gilbert Gottfried don't give a fuck, so he doesn't care. So, The Cabin with Bert Kreischer, I'm a yes. Charles, what are you?
I'm a huge yes. I'm definitely going to check this out whenever it pops up. I love Bert Kreischer. My only criteria is exactly what Steve said. Just get on there and be Bert Kreischer being stupid and talking funny things. I'm into it, But if you get in there and start whining about what's really rough and that, I'm like, okay, I'm out of it. So that's my 2 cents. But big yes.
And Bill?
Oh, I'm definitely going to watch this.
Yeah, you like Bert Kreischer a lot, don't you? Yeah.
I do.
He's got a handful of really, because Anthony Anderson's on it from Blackish. There's a whole bunch of like guest celebrities and stuff. And it's just, I think it's just them hanging out in the woods. It could be really funny, man. I hope it is.
If they don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
All right, and next up on Netflix is Deaf U. This is about a bunch of deaf college students trying to go to college, and it's a docu-series about how they deal with things, learning in this. It sounds a little interesting. I'd probably give it an episode, but if it doesn't pick up, I'd probably leave. So I'm a maybe. Charles?
This is right up my alley with the randomness of it. You know, it just had Charles written all over it. Like, listening to these college or these deaf kids go to college and, like, just to see what that world is like would be interesting to me. So I'm a yes. I think I'm a yes.
Bill?
This one doesn't really do it for me, so probably no.
Yeah. All right. Next is A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. This is kind of like a Goosebumps, spooky but funny, kid-based Netflix Halloween movie. I'm a no on this one, Charles.
I'm a huge no, but I'm sure my daughter will want to watch it, but I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to go play Mafia, so I'm a no.
BB?
Yeah, I think I read that Netflix put out something like 16 or 17 different Halloween, or spooky based shows or movies in this month. So no to all of them.
To the whole group. All right.
Number one movie on Netflix right now is that terrible Adam Sandler.
QB Halloween, yeah, something like that.
Yes.
It looks so bad.
It does. Evil Eye is on Amazon. This is a thriller where this Indian woman finds this man, but he could be a reincarnated killer that used to date her mom. It's a very weird. I'm a no. Charles?
Dude, first of all, Amazon is obsessed with Indian culture. It's so
They
annoying. You get Amazon Prime for any length of time. You check out their video section. There's 3 billion Bollywood movies and all this crap. No, everything on Amazon sucks. I know Steve likes The Boys, and I'll give him that. And a lot of people like the Maisel stuff, but it's just that Amazon bug, man. I got to go to the bathroom if Steve starts talking about this one.
Bill?
Yeah, Amazon, you're saying Amazon was bad enough, but then you said reincarnated. So no, and hell.
It was a very weird video. I watched the trailer. I was like, what the hell is this? So, all right, now let's go back into a new one coming out. This is another one of those, let's bring all the people back from the original show. It would be so cool.
Are they doing a Zoom? Is this a Zoom, by the way?
I don't think it's a Zoom. I think it's a live stage theatrical reading of a West Wing special.
Reading? They're not even going to act it out.
I think they're going to act it out. I don't know for sure. I know Martin Sheen is back, and they're going to do this is on HBO Max. I put in their stage version, so yeah, I think it's an acted out episode of the West Wing and why we all should vote to beat the Orange Cheeto in charge. I'm a big no. I ain't watching this. I ain't watching any of this, so I'm a no. Charles?
I didn't watch West Wing and it was on. This sounds terrible. I am a huge no. If I could remove it from my list on HBO Max, I'll work that out.
Bill?
Yeah, I didn't watch West Wing either. I've had a lot of people tell me it was a great show, but I was never interested in it. And this isn't the only thing I've heard of recently that is going to involve some sort of putting on either stream or television some reading of a movie or of an episode. Since when did reading an episode become a spectator?
I don't know.
I
the
don't
table
want to turn on the television at any point to watch a bunch of actors sit around a table or sit there on a Zoom meeting and read a freaking play.
I'm telling you, man. He's
all right.
I
didn't enjoy reading plays in high school when you had to okay, you will read you will read Macbeth and you'll be Lady Macbeth, and it was stupid then. Yes. I'm certainly not watching anyone else do it. I don't care what actors they are. And is Martin Sheen even still alive, by by the way?
Apparently so.
He's got to be like 123 years old.
Yes, Beefy's 100% right in this review.
He was decrepit when he was on the show. You know what this is? I'm sorry. This is lazy television.
I'm gonna give BV's pick 100% on this Cole Lock pick. This is 100% right.
Well,
We
I
and
wasn't
him
gonna
will
watch this.
agree. He will win tons of money because this is gonna be a
I
turd.
mean, hell, if that's the case, let's get the fat guys to get kind of hook up with like Amazon or something. We can just
Dude,
buy like
Nope,
old
nope.
screenplays and stuff, and we can sit around and read shit.
you need an
We'll read
Indian
Get
Animal
guy.
House.
Heather, Michelle, whatever.
Do you know? Do you have an
Please-
Indian
please-
friend? We need an Indian friend. We're gonna be on
Please-
Amazon.
Please tune in next week for the live reading of Animal House by Fat Guys on the
I'm
Podcast.
telling you, BB is so spot on. The fact that he did this with Fast Times at Ridgemont High and all, like,
Yeah.
get out of here. Those Zoom ones were terrible. I love Parks and Rec. That was all awful. BB
Yeah.
is spot on, people.
All right, so we officially shit on that one. Next up is Clouds. Now, let me try to explain this one. I'm not sure I can fully explain it. So, it's a young guy. He looks like a young John Mayer. He gets cancer of some sort and shaves his head, but then becomes a famous pop star at the same time. So then he's he's an inspiration to kids in the hospital and blah, blah. This looks absolutely heartstring terrible.
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
a big no. Clouds on Disney Plus. You would have never guessed the story based on the name. I'm a big no. Charles?
I gotta tell you, Disney Plus is I'm moments away from canceling that mug. I'm telling you, give me my Mandalorian real quick. I'm telling you, because it is. This looks terrible. I'm sure Holly's gonna enjoy it, but I'm a no.
Bill?
Is this like that bad Mandy Moore movie back in the day where she gets cancer and some teenage kid marries her? I don't know.
Sounds
Really?
about- Yeah,
I mean, something tells me that like Holly will be all over this.
Yeah.
it's something about Holly's generation. They're obsessed
Yeah,
with cancer.
if you're not a girl between probably 12 and 17, then this makes no sense for anybody
You get
else.
some weird, like Shawn Mendes looking kid, and you give someone some cancer, and then Holly's
Yeah.
all in. It's weird.
Yeah.
it's someone that it's like suicide and cancer. They're obsessed.
It's like, what the hell's going on?
What's wrong with you fucks?
Just stop wasting the public's time with this crap.
Again, BV's 2 for 2. Get him out of the cold lock pick of the week.
And the last one that's coming out, I think it came out this week. It's called Next. This is Roger Sterling from Mad Men. He has made an AI that's become self-aware and is trying to kill humans. And him and his team are running around the world looking to stop it. It's on standard network television, so I am a big no. Charles, what do you think?
It sounds kind of interesting sci-fi wise. If it gets a buzz that I hear about, I might peep it and take a look at it. But as of right now, I'm a no.
And Bill?
Yeah, you said sci-fi, so I'm out.
All right.
All right.
And we disagree again.
So it will do it for this week's previews. Some different kind of things available this week. And Charles, you were so spot on with that Disney Plus. They've got The Mandalorian and just about nothing else.
I'm telling you, Steve, I'm gonna be
I
dropping
didn't-
it.
I didn't put it in the notes. There's a Pixar movie called Soul. I don't know if you've heard about that.
They're not gonna
Yeah.
move it in the theater, right? They're gonna put it right.
They're
to
going
the-
to put it on and not charge for it. So they're not charging any extra
Oh,
for it.
Okay.
They said a lot of people believe the reasoning is because when Disney Plus first came out, everyone signed up for the year in advance. So they feel like they're going to have a lot of people bail this right after November.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So they're trying to add
That
free
last
movies.
nugget to keep people that subscriber base in there.
Yes,
I
yeah,
get you.
that-
Wow.
So that's
Because
why
I
they're
gotta
putting
tell
it.
you, man, we check all the services. The reason why Hulu doesn't hit that much for me is because we watch a lot of like our TV shows when they air. Like Good Eats, for example, would be on Hulu, but I already watched it on my DirecTV or whatever. So like Hulu, but I get why Hulu can be useful for a lot of people. My ESPN Plus, I gotta keep because I'm a psycho with my MMA stuff, and it's always good to be able to on a Tuesday afternoon pull up the event from the past weekend. But this Disney Plus, man, I check it all the time. They're barely adding any content. Any of the content that they add is like an iCarly episode from the 90s. Like, dude, I don't care about any of this. They need if Mandalorian falls off in quality or concept this season, I might drop them, Steve. I'm struggling to, Jeff Goldblum's nowhere to be found. Jeff Goldblum was great on that channel.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
I don't know.
They got the superhero stuff coming, but you give two shits about it. So, but even that's only going to be 8 episodes, so it's not like
It's tough.
it's
Tough,
And
man.
not being a Star Wars or a comic guy, I've actually found more interesting things on the Nat Geo part of Disney Plus than anywhere else.
With a lot of like animal doc stuff and all that.
Yeah, those are cool. But you can crack through most of those pretty quick,
too. They don't update that content too often. You get through it in a month or two, and it's like, okay, you're getting.
Where's like my new Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck cartoons or something?
Where's something, man? I don't know.
New DuckTales, new fucking
I gotta tell you,
I
don't know if we're hitting that COVID lull or whatever, because Heather and I were talking.
I've
got way too many services here, and I have nothing to watch, and I'm like, how is this possible? I've got every service, and I have nothing. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Here was a funny one today. I went and got my haircut at the Great Clips. And the girl, she's probably 25, cutting my hair, and she said she's a big fan of the Masked Singer, that Masked Singer.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, did you see the last episode? She goes, no, I'm always a couple episodes behind, because her whole television is just Hulu. Not the Hulu TV, the Hulu,
old
like
school
$6.
Hulu. Yeah, wow.
I was like, you don't even have the network channels? You can just get an antenna. She's like, no, I just catch shows like a week or two later.
I don't know what that's like, man. I don't know.
You're making me mental.
That is ghetto fabulous.
Yeah, but it makes sense for a lot of people. Yeah, like Steve's saying. We get on here, we talk about this crap all the time. But I gotta tell you, man, I'm putting out, $40 a month for. I got the upgraded Netflix. I got the upgraded package from Disney Plus. I've got HBO Max. I'm like, what am I doing here, man? Maybe I need to trim some fat. I don't know, man. Mandalorian had better hit. It better be as amazing as I remember that first season. I'm telling you, there's a lot of pressure on that show for me.
Well, I signed up for 3 years. I'm stuck with that.
3 years? Jesus Christ.
We got some super discounts.
Holly's 40 by the time
Disney for 3 years.
Yeah, I'm with BV on this one, man.
I think it's 2 or 3 years. It's more than a year. I know that much.
Christ. How much did you pay per year for the 3-year bundle? Jesus.
It was cheap. It was only like 120 totals. That's why we did it. So, all right, Charles, tell us about UFC and pugilism.
So back to the ESPN Plus. This past weekend, again, I watched it Tuesday morning, which is great about ESPN Plus. I watched Holly Holmes got a very decisive win over Irene Aldana, and it was very decisive, man. And Steve watched a couple Holly Holm fights with me. She is she just can't calm down. She's pacing. She's crazy. I don't know what kind of metabolism that chick has or whatever it is, man, but she is just the busiest person I've ever seen, and she put it on this girl. It wasn't even. You could have been a blind judge and knew that Holly Holmes won that one. It was very one-sided. And then tonight we got Marlon Moraes fighting Corey Sandhagen, fights tonight at Fight Island. A decent card, but the big one that's happening tonight, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship 13, takes place from Salinas, Kansas. BV's got it. What's that?
I had to look. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, where the hell is Salina, Kansas? Look at the map. It is like dead center of the state.
Dude, you gotta hide this in someone's basement. The same place they're gonna put Gretchen there hosting a bare knuckle fighting championship. It's great.
It's nowhere close to Kansas City or Wichita. I don't know where the hell.
It's in the sticks of Kansas.
You're the sticks of Kansas, punching people in the face.
There's no females on the card tonight. Steve's a little bummed. I know.
Man. I have to sign up then.
But Sam Shoemaker comes back. Me, BV, and Steve have seen him fight a couple times on the bare knuckles and everything. And once we wrap up with the show, I'll turn on the stream and share it to you guys, and we'll take a look at it and stuff like that. But yeah, I love it. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship 13. I pay $3.99 a month for my bare knuckle, but I'm canceling that after this event tonight. So yeah. But anyway,
all right.
Love it.
From Salina, Kansas. There's a fucking there's some place no one's ever gonna visit. All right, let's go with the news. Big news. This is a weird one because Netflix officially okayed a season 4 for Glow Wrestling, which I've watched the first 3 seasons.
You're a fan of this show. You love this show.
I've watched it, yeah, and then but now
it's downplay it. You watch it as soon as it comes out, you bang through it immediately. You want to see some chicks' titties on the Netflix show. I was like, oh,
I enjoy the show. I like the show. Yeah, you got to have certain shows to watch with your
I like
wife.
Mark Maron. I think he's a very funny
Yeah,
guy.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like the other the gay guy that runs the show. I can't think of his name, but he's funny in it too. But anyways, they basically said no, forget season 4. We've canceled it. So they renewed it, and now officially they've canceled it. So there will be no season 4. Which season 3 ended with a couple cliffhangers. So again, when I was my rant earlier, you didn't hear why you were pissing.
No.
I hate when shows end the season with, every show starts like 4 plot lines in the beginning of the season.
You want
I
to
like
wrap
a show,
up, yeah.
Yeah, which The Boys did, and Utopia didn't. So now if Utopia gets canceled, there's 5 storylines I'll never get to see the end of, which is the same case with Glow. There's 2 main storylines you're not going to see the end of now because it's been canceled.
How bummed are you that this show got canceled? Be honest. You like that show a lot, I think.
If it came out, I would have watched it with my wife.
It's creepy. Watching chicks titties with his mom. It's really creepy.
We would have watched it that week, so I would have watched it. But then again, it was creeping up on my Steve rule, so season 5 should have been the last season. But a little bummer. I would have watched it. I was thinking about this the other day. There's not that many great series on Netflix. Once you get past Stranger Things, you're kind of struggling to find shows, except for you.
Yeah, I get obscure. I like the obscurity.
Obscure, weird shit.
Well, Last Chance U is still one of the best shows on television. Last Chance U is amazing. BV knows. He's got into it. It's good.
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
I haven't seen the latest one.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, man, BV, you got to check it out.
But it's not... People act like Netflix has all this great content, and really look at it.
As long as there's British baking show, Charles will be fine.
Yeah, now we're talking.
All right. So now, Mortal Kombat 11 is the gift that keeps on giving. They keep adding it. They're going to have the 600 characters by the time this game's done. John Rambo is coming to Mortal Kombat 11. There's a trailer out there for it, and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah.
Did you see the trailer, Charles?
Yeah, of course I did. After you told me about it, I had to check it out because I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. I love him. I also love the Rambo character. I wear the one shirt all the time. I can't get enough of it. I just am curious, as someone who's really into the MK universe, as you are, Steve, how does he fit in? Do you think he's really good?
He'll fit in because they got that whole special military group, like Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Jax, and then there's other characters that are in it now. They all have guns and stuff.
Okay.
So he'll fit in. They'll probably, if they made him part of the story, which usually the guest characters they don't, he'll fit in with that part of the story.
Okay.
And then
he's carrying a huge hand cannon of a gun when he's in there.
It looks like they modeled him after the first movie, not the more recent ones, but like the First Blood or
I
the
took
second.
it as the second one. Yeah, it's kind of the vibe I got. Yeah.
So him versus Terminator in that game, it's got to happen right away, right?
Oh man.
And then you throw RoboCop for the winner. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Man.
That's some 80s love fest right there. I love it. As soon as I get it, I will post some game footage of John Rambo killing people.
Do those, just not to cut you off, but do those versions of Mortal Kombat, the recent ones, still lend themselves to good button racking, or just?
Yeah, and they got levels, so you can put it on easy, button rack, and have a good time. You don't have, normal or harder levels, you're gonna get killed, but you can put it on easy, crack through the arcade, have a good time. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, Michelle wins, and she doesn't know what she's doing. She just hits buttons. She doesn't even hit the joystick. She just sits there and does this on the fight stick, and she wins. So, yeah. But if you know what you're doing, it's a lot better. You can obviously crack out a few more things. Right out update, 28-17 Notre Dame. They fumbled twice, by the way, to give 14.
Is there weather? Is it dry? No weather?
No, it's fine.
No reason.
Yeah, it's in Notre Dame, so... All right, so that's up. Now, Netflix is getting charges put against them. This Cuties movie that I have not seen is just nothing but a headache for Netflix. So this is a foreign film that was in Sundance, and basically it takes a bunch of young girls. I don't even know how old they are, 9, 10 years old, and they're twerking and dancing and trying to... I don't know the story.
Like something to do with kiddie porn is what they hit them with. I remember that,
Yeah, so they're getting charges now against them. People are not happy about this Cuties movie. I bet you the higher ups at Netflix are like, why the hell did we pay for this damn movie? Yeah. They should have never had it on the service. I don't know the details of the charges, but I don't think they'll make them stick. But right now, nothing but controversy over that Cuties movie. It's a French movie. on Netflix. So stay away from it, from what I understand. Now, each week I do like to put VR games on here because Charles likes them, and I do like them too. Blair Witch VR game is coming to the Oculus Quest. That could be an interesting.
Is that word under construction?
Oculus Quest, sorry.
Whatever.
But that's kind of a clever concept. If I mean, the Resident Evil movie.
The creepier you can make the game, the better it is. I think those jump scares work really well in the VR setup and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I agree with Steve. I think it's a smart move to go to that horror genre for a good VR title.
Yeah, I still prefer a good flight simulator, like we covered a week or two ago. But I think
you can appreciate that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, smart.
So not a lot of news this week because we had a lot of random tragedy with our governor. So that's going to wrap us up for some tech news. Now, this next question, and I'm put this out to Charles and you, Bill. This is more of a techie sci-fi one, but I think Bill can do it too. So me and Michelle got into a discussion. I don't even know what led to it about the future of humanity. Blah blah blah. I feel maybe not now, but 1,000 or 2,000 years from now, we're going to populate other worlds. That's natural expansion. Michelle feels that we're just going to live here until the planet is done, and then we're all going to die as a species, and it's going to be it. What are your guys' take on that, and what side do you guys pick on that one?
I'll let BV go first. Go ahead, BV.
I was going to let you do the same thing.
Oh, then let me jump in, because let me tell you something. The problem is the power source, Steve. So I get what you're saying, but how do you make something that is a power generation to get us off this planet on a regular basis? The basis of so many science fiction stories is the power element, and that's going to be the key. I think that one of the problems with getting us off this planet, and I think I'm leaning more towards Team Michelle. First of all, I love this question. I approve this question. I think I'm leaning more towards Team Michelle because I just don't see, if you're to discuss, one of the biggest things is like BTUs, or like the amount of energy something can hold. I don't think we have a power source on this planet that can lend itself to the planet hopping that I would love to see in my lifetime, or at least in my grandkids' lifetime or something. I'm more of the Michelle thing. I think that we're stuck on this planet. I think we will continue to rape this planet. And unfortunately, I think we are in for an extinction, is what I'm on Team Michelle.
Bill?
Well, I have to say, to be honest, this is not something I typically think about. But
whereas I think about this all the time. I agree with Steve.
Okay, that being said, I guess my inclination is probably also to go with Team Michelle, and I hadn't given thought to the power source.
Wow, did not expect this.
But really? Oh.
Steve wants to live in Star Wars.
Well, no, it's just that, everything that I have heard when they talk about trying to set up even extended visits to other planets and whatnot, is that there's we're not even 100% certain that all of them are really habitable, particularly not for humans. Too cold, too hot. What the makeup of the planets are, and whether or not that would be conducive to humans living on it. The power thing, I think it makes sense, but we don't do a very good job of mastering life on Earth. To Charles' point, we're not exactly good stewards of the planet we currently live on. So I think we're probably more likely to do what all societies have done,
crumble,
the thousands of years before us, which will be to eventually move themselves to extinction. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around.
How far off, if BV were to put in a time machine, how far off is that extinction to both of you? If you were to, Steve, if you were to jump on Team Michelle, after I just told you we don't have the power to get off this planet, because I'm right, what would you say, how long until this planet is uninhabitable? Go for it.
1,000 years.
1,000 years. You think 10 more generations and then it's toast? 3,000 BC or AD or whatever, and then we're out, is what you're saying. BV, you got a theory?
I think it depends on how well we adapt to the changes that we've already seen. I mean, they're already able to model how changes in our land masses are going to be in the next 100 to 200 years, and that's disturbing enough as is. So maybe 1,000 years. I guess maybe I have probably less faith in humanity. I'd say somewhere between 500 and 700 years.
I'm really pessimistic. I'm going to say closer to like 250 at the most.
I thought you were going to say 2 years.
Yeah, no, 2 years we're out of here. No, I'm telling you, I think that Lorna's grandkids and Holly's grandkids are going to have, because I just don't see it slowing down. The other thing one of the things we got to talk about, we're on a huge rock flying through the cosmos right now. Some other huge rock could bang into us at any point. Like let's get into crazy science fiction, and then we're in that dystopian world that BV loves to live in. You know, some huge meteor hits Australia, throws us off our axis and our usual rotation. Think about it, guys. Let's do some weed and some DMT and some mushrooms, and let's really get going here. I'm just telling you, like now, it's crazy.
A key part of the question was the next couple thousand years, right? So it wasn't recently. So we're already making it to Mars right now. Right?
Yeah, but to get to Mars,
you already can live in a space station right now.
Okay. You can live in a space station orbiting the planet. And at maximum, it holds 3-4 years. I get what I'd love for my science fiction bones to tell you that eventually there's going to be a cargo ship they're all going to get on and go to Epsilon 6. It's not going to happen, Steve. I'm telling you.
There's also advances in technology in the last 20 years that people 20 years ago wouldn't believe are happening, or 30 years, whatever.
Sure. So no one saw the internet coming.
A new energy source could be found.
Okay, so not coming from the clearly non-technological and non-sci-fi point of view, I think that actually the deeply going into this question and advocating for the life, inhabiting other planets, to me is a microcosm of the problems that we have in the current world now.
So we basically shit on the floor.
Why are we not putting the same focus into sustaining the habitability of our own planet instead of focusing billions of dollars, at this point mostly private dollars, but into trying to find ways to, we'll just move it to another planet, and that's how we'll deal with the problem.
We're humans. We like new shiny things.
It's a new shiny toy.
Well, and that's the whole. You kind of, I think, in some way, you're that statement sort of, I think, makes our point. We're humans. We like new shiny things, and we don't think about society as a whole. We think about what we think is cool and about what we want to see, and the people that drive decisions are very much based that way. And so I think that sort of way of thinking is more likely to destroy us here than it is to end up putting us into a sustainable place somewhere outside this planet.
Trump's Space Force is going to get me to another planet.
Yeah. What is Michelle's take on why the planet will not make it? What is her take? What is her
well, her first take is any kind of investment in NASA and space exploration is a giant waste of time and resources. That's number one for her. Every time she heard about Space Force or anything, I get intrigued. She immediately rolls her eyes and goes, "What a waste of money!" So it's what she always says, and she feels that the funds and time isn't going to be put into it that needs to be done. So she just thinks we're all fucked here.
Do you think now? Let's put our sci-fi hats back on, as BV loves to do with us on this show all the time. Do you guys think that wars will take place in that, like, those stratosphere layers, like in those upper, like, low space kind of areas? Do you think that you could see, because they already can fire those missiles up into those certain layers to, like, those intercontinental ballistic missiles that can kind of go up? Do you assume that maybe at one point, like, aircraft and stuff like that on a regular basis will be up there, like, fighting with other warring nations? What do you guys think on that?
I don't know. You're saying like Moonraker when everyone went up to space?
I'm saying everyone's fighting up in space now. Yeah, like we're not able, because like one of the things I think we have, and again my 2 cents, my daughter, and the next time you're over here, I'll show you this crazy solar system poster I bought in my daughter's room. I think that we do a terrible job as human beings understanding scope and scale. What I mean by that is it takes like years to travel to Mars. It's not like you can just go on like a weekend trip where you going, I'm going up to Mars to be in Total Recall. You know what I mean? Like it takes and we are such a small thing in a vast universe that like that travel time alone, like if you were to just start out tomorrow, it would take you how many years to get to Venus? You know, it doesn't take,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one of the things I think we have a hard time and a hard concept of understanding those situations too.
Eventually, some other source is going to come, right? So the plane started out with propellers, and they went to jet engines, and and then you got the Concorde that can go supersonic speeds. Eventually something happen.
You're saying over the 1,000 years, it's inevitable that technological advances will not push the travel and the space industry, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Eventually, it's got to happen. Either that, or the aliens will come down and teach us how to
well, does BV believe in like extraterrestrials? Where's BV's take on like the universe and stuff like that? As a non-science fiction person in this room, what is BV's take on ET?
I think it would be foolish to think that we're the only life forms in the universe. That being said, I have no concern whatsoever that suddenly spaceships are going to land on Earth and they're going to come and use us for experiments or war with us or teach us different things or, I don't know, probe Cartman's ass. I don't.
That's going to happen.
I don't see it. And I also don't know that, I mean, well, I guess it's reasonable to think that we're also not the most technologically advanced of life forms in the world, or excuse me, in the universe. I don't know that that's that the logical inference necessarily means that those that are more technologically advanced are going to bother to come and do whatever they want to do with us, or that more technologically advanced means that they can do easily what we can't do at all. I mean, that's a little too.
It's too easy of an assumption.
I think we spend a lot of time taking what little we know about science and what we see in sci-fi, and then we try to make inferences that this is definitely the case. The truth is we don't really know.
And humans as a race don't usually handle that too often. When you say point blank, we don't know. So then that, and again, I'm very atheist and all. I feel like it's that gray area that they had to come up with a lot of the rules. And I feel like what BV just touched on is being afraid of these things as a human. You need some kind of structure and all that. And so many years ago, people came up with religion to help and aid with those people that don't know. And that's one of the things of why I feel like I'm an atheist the older I get and all that kind of stuff. Very atheist. And it just, people are afraid of what they don't know, is what, to BV's point. I would echo that. Scott
said, chiming in on this conversation, that John Carter of Mars flew to Mars instantly. So
well, this is true. I didn't factor in John Carter. I forgot that Taylor Quiche or whatever, the Kirsch or whatever his name is, did that.
He also said, Bill Nye, move over. Here comes Bill Vicious. So,
dude, I'm telling you. I love this topic. I think it's Steve. I wish I had these conversations with Heather. She won't entertain me in these topics.
Well, Michelle really didn't carry the conversation very well. She just said, "Oh, we're all gonna die now. Let's go watch our show."
Well, here's another aspect that just kind of came to me, is that we don't seem to have the ability at this point to even make the technology that we have that could significantly improve things like climate, working against climate change and hydrocarbon independence from that. We haven't even found a way to make that cost effective yet. So considering the problems that we're dealing with now, and I think with the science that states that those are only going to continue to increase over the years, what would make us think that we're not going to be so challenged economically and trying to find solutions that work to preserve our own society that we would have enough funding, private, public, or otherwise, that would be able to do what would be an enormous undertaking, getting us not only to somewhere with any sort of regularity outside of the Earth, but being able to like put everything that would need to be in place to be able to inhabit it.
Yeah, but Steve would argue that you're thinking short-sighted. He gave you 1,000 years, is what he's trying to say. So Steve's trying to say, think about how far we've come as a species in 1,000 years. He's saying project that out. Those issues could come and go in 1,000 years' time, is what Steve would insinuate. I think is, and I don't want to put words in Steve's mouth, but I think that the average person that would say, "Hey, look, something like Battlestar Galactica could take place," because we need to think about, like I said, the long-term turn of that. We're gonna. I think that someone in the Steve camp would say, "Hey, look, we're gonna tackle climate change when it's so abundantly obvious, no one can turn their head otherwise." And I think that's. Unfortunately, I think that's the way a lot of people are going to be with climate change, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we're all fucked. You guys made it total downer. I thought you guys were going to be like, yeah, we're all going to Mars next week.
I told you got to get me a power source. It's simple.
So Scott just said Steve has enough rations for all of us to live for 1,000 in his basement.
Fucker. All right. All right, we can go all night.
Not too bad you missed the animation corner.
Yeah.
Gotta join
all right. So that's going to wrap us up for this week.
This is our last quarantine edition, I believe. I think we should be back in studio.
Hopefully, we won't have to break it into two episodes next week.
If Steve can show up and show me a negative corona test, I'll let him in my house.
I got to bring my paperwork.
I'm just saying. Quick swab you.
So you can catch us on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Fat Guys Little Podcast.
All 7 parts of us are available on Facebook.
18 parts of this podcast on Facebook. Also, I did some little Twitch this week, so if you want to catch our Twitch, not that many people do. that one's a rough. Might have to abandon that. But so catch us wherever podcasts are played. And of course, this is Steve
and Charles.
We'll catch you next week.